Hi. Here am I with my, what do you call this, a phone? Yes, that kind of lasso, that we have encouraged in our lives over these years. When I entered marriage, well, moons ago, there were no phones. There were no cell phones. Nothing mobile. We had landline. And not everybody had landline, because of course you had to be in a particular bracket to really afford a landline. Or some people just decided that they would afford it anyway. But over the years, the phone has become a very integral part of our existence. And we don't seem to be able to do without it. I must have a phone. I can't do without it. And it has come to the place where it is not just an expectation anymore, it's a norm. One without the phone is crazy. How do you live? If it goes bad, if it's not working, woo, you're out of sync. And if it's discharged and you don't have a way to plug in, Lord. So we are continually faced with dilemmas like these, but we have made norms. And how do we, even in this era, how do I decide not to have this for one day? Or how not to engage with my decisions and my plans without that kind of control that comes from using the phone? Yeah. And I'm saying this and sharing this to help me as a backdrop to looking at the transitions that we expose ourselves to. Notice my words, we expose ourselves to, or we are engaged in as we grow from infancy all the way up to adulthood. And in that space, we are now married, or we are now established in a relationship. And for some of us, we are cohabiting. For some people, we are just making sure that we care for each other, that we have something that is tight. But with all of that, how do we really maintain the now? How do we maintain that kind of concept of living in one space as spouses? And I want us today to begin to realize, just like the phone, starting off without it, coming into a space with it, and then coming to another dimension of experience where I can't do without it. Now, when I grew up, should I be saying grew? When I grew up, when I grew up as a child, I was exposed, of course, to certain cultures and traditions, which became norms, because those are the things I know as life. And through my development, educationally, socially, physically, I have not been able to veer, to change, to get away from that. Then I come into this new institution called marriage, this institution called sharing, and I'm faced now with giving up. Yes, I'm faced with not doing it my way, or doing it the way I was taught, doing the way that seemed to be the only way, the right way. And now I'm hearing from my partner, your daughter, what? Hey, what happened? Nobody teach you? As I shared in the last broadcast, it is that kind of banter that comes and, hey, what happened? You're an adult. I expect you to know what's going on. I expect you to know what to do. Yes, you could expect, but remember, that expectation is clouded in uncertainty because you really do not know. You have not sat down to talk about who I am. So now you are learning by the difference in my behavior and difference in the fact that what I am now doing, I only know to do, or I only know to do only, or I know to do only. Either way, there is a very selfish context, an already personal context, where it is me doing what I know to do. And that's what I know to do. So when I get into this relationship and we're in the same space, in that same environment, and there's an expectation that what is going to be now, I already know. Because I've done that all my life. Oh, alas, there is some spike or there's some fly in the ointment that makes a whole difference. So, whoa, what happened? What did you do that for? Why didn't you say something? And we have this continuum of negativity coming up in our face because we have not so learned to just accept that what my other partner, the other person in that house, in that room is doing is only what they know to do. Can I begin to acknowledge that? In psychology, we talk about behavioral modification. Am I willing to modify my behavior in this context of relationship and marriage? Am I willing to? Or is that modification only in terms of social constructs? You know, when the person is in an office or school or going out in public spaces and I am supposed to behave a particular way because I am adjusting to that particular paradigm. But there's a big paradigm in what is called home and house. There's a big situation there where both of us are working day and night doing things within that space and wanting to spend with such intimate and very romantic times, and we realize that that part of the agreement or arrangement is always threatened because, hey, what are you doing? What you didn't do? How we do it? Why you do it? What kind of thing is that? We are faced with those kinds of attitudes that are not conducive to romance. And so therefore we are going crazy. Did I say that? It's not a word that I ought to use. We are going very imbalanced. Is that better? So that with all of that, I'm saying that we need to come to that place where we can appreciate that context of modification. How am I going to establish modification? And how am I going to see that modification is not losing all of me? It's just changing. So that one of the things we have to look at in terms of modification is that sense of losing my ideals. The understanding of, am I losing me? Am I losing what I represent? After all these years, mommy and daddy trained me, nurtured me, etc. And here am I, fine and refined, and I've given myself to you. Oh, but I didn't give myself to myself. I gave myself to somebody who's completely different from me. And therefore, I have to learn how to work on that. So therefore, I am here now in a place where I have to wonder, in this modifying or in this transitioning, am I willing to lose? And I dare say, that is some of the issues that we are working with. Am I, Kenneth, willing to lose some of who I am in order to have a relationship with you? That's a good question. Are you? Are you willing to lose? Oh, let's not talk about this. I don't like the word lose. Okay, are you willing to not behave particular ways or do particular things in order for you to engage the partner's behavior, which is also different? And that part is also saying the same thing about himself with or herself with you. So there's an agony going on. There's a whole catharsis here of working out these strange adaptations that I need to have in order for me to come into that space of what is called unity. So, where am I going with this? Where is Dr. Niles going with this? What next, Dr. Niles? Yes, this is what's next. Defense. Defender of my right. Does that sound good? What I know, I know. What I was taught, I was taught. Who I am, nobody can change that. So I begin to defend my right. I begin to defend what I'm saying that I am. You cannot come into my space after all these years. I'm a grown person, adult. I have been educated. I have been socialized. Why don't you change? And that's rhetoric is going to and fro. And this is where we have something called trauma, or we have wars, we have fights, we have disputes, because we are not willing to sit and hear the other partner's views or concepts in order to ratify and to come into that place of oneness. I defend my right. I say it again. What is that? Now, I'm going to say something here that you might want to throw something. You can't throw anything. It's on the camera, on your phone, or your laptop. But how do you know that what you were so taught by your parents or by your relatives was the proper thing? How do you know that that is something that they themselves may not have even clarified or ratified or check to see if they were doing? Because do remember, parenting is really ad hoc. We don't have any structure because there's no specific module or specific teaching in terms of how we should parent. We have ideas, and we all share that. I myself have parenting seminars, and we give structures, but I am here helping you define from your objectives what you want in a family. How do I get that from a togetherness context? So that, therefore, it's not about right or wrong. It's about learning how to find sameness, or to find some equilibrium, that's a better word. How to find equilibrium within that space to foster family relations. So it must start with the parents. It must start with those two people, those spouses. It must start there. If we do not know how, as spouses, to come into that space where we can agree, how are we going to train our children to agree? So it is important for us to realize that behavior modification is not about the child changing to be adaptable within a school or sporting or any other cultural context. It is about modifying us as adults, because we are now faced with difference with these two backgrounds of socialization from two different sets of parents. Are we willing to work that out? Or am I going to still try to defend my right? So, therefore, I go back to my former statement. Am I willing to lose? Am I going to understand that there are some things I have to, maybe I shouldn't use the word lose, maybe I should just say give up. But you see, I don't want you to think about giving up and to fight for it. If I lose it, I don't have to go back to find it. Or am I just to make sure it doesn't exist anymore? Because you see, every time I create a new frame of understanding, I cannot keep going back to the old one, because I'm going to create now anarchy within the home. I'm going to create a whole set of confusion of what to believe. What are we telling the children? Today is today, tomorrow is not. What are we telling each other? So we have to keep redefining process in order for us to have that stability within the home. So, what Mommy and Daddy taught us, we have to put that on the table and say, look, I'm accustomed eating bread at night. Oh, I don't. Okay. You eat your bread, I eat my salad. Could we work that peaceably? No. The bread is not good for you. No. You're going to get fat. By the time you argue those nutritional values, it is not about the bread that is important. It is about the relationship that's important. So you have to use relating in order to get to the nutrition, rather than try to use the nutrition as a whip to get the relationship. I eat eggs fried in butter. I eat eggs fried in oil. Hey, eat eggs. Are you willing to lose your oil or butter just to eat eggs so that you can decide that you're having a relationship on a table called, at a time called breakfast, and really enjoying that, rather than trying to understand, hey, I remember me and cold milk and hot milk. Oh, yes. I don't eat cereal with hot milk. What is that? But I had to learn that it's neither cold milk or hot milk. It's about having breakfast. Am I willing to lose my cold milk? Am I willing to gain my hot milk? What I am saying here that we have to understand, how do we work out the next step without war, without disputing? So I came to the point where neither hot nor cold, fine. I could use warm milk instead of cold milk, or could you use cold? And so that over the years, we have breakfast. We don't always have the same cereal sometimes. I like this, you might not like that. We haven't. It is not that I am being pressured. I am being engaging in terms of understanding. I am not just losing something, I am gaining something else. I am gaining a new method. I'm gaining something that was not there before. I didn't know about that. How do I squeeze the toothpaste out of the tube? From the top or the bottom? What time should I get home? How do I relay that? Now, before in my time, relaying it at home was by just saying I'm coming home at a particular time, or you did, or if you did not, you come with a reason. But today, there is no such thing. You have a phone, call. If I forget to call, wow, I can feel my neck shifting off its position here, because I might be either be choked or be approached saying, hey, you could call, you could do this, you could do that, without realizing there are different methods. I can still share why. I can still talk to you and say, this happened and I did not have a chance, or I didn't even think of calling. So what's bad about saying, or what's wrong in hearing those kinds of, I can't say excuses, reasons. So today, it's important for you to begin to see that we do have to find in our minds the concept of losing. That means giving away, not having particular concepts anymore, because we are not just throwing it out. I'm not just throwing out my milk and my cornflakes. I am re-establishing how it can be used differently, with the milk being warm or the cornflakes being dry. But I'm still having breakfast with my wife. Can we therefore continue to see it is about the relationship, rather about the things that we think are so important? So the things, my cornflakes has no breath. Your shoes placed in the wrong place have no breath. The umbrella open, the bed not made up, sleeping, throw yourself on the well-made up bed. Those things have no life in it. But we make those things the hallmark of our decisions for dispute or for indifference. We already have differences about ourselves. Let's see, because we have the life and we are the ones working together, let's see if we could move away from those things and come into the reality of our thoughts and our behaviors, and sit down and work out those attitudes that are important for going forward. So again, I want you to sit differently with your partners, with your spouses, and talk about each other. The word I is a good word. I rather you. You know, we like to say, what you do, what you do. What am I doing? What can I do? What have I done? Well, you know, I did this. I'm accustomed to doing this. I would like to do it different. Can you help? What do you have to offer me that will be different and workable? So let's see if we can use the word I. Let's see if we can have that discussion, that dialogue that brings us into a place where we really acknowledge new and work it successfully. Let's see if we can really modify as we go along, remembering we've come from two different rocks, chipped off, coming together. As we make our own rock, let's see if we can allow that melting to bring that solidifying. Yes? So may you be encouraged, and may the God of grace continue to abide and abound in your hearts as we lay down our lives for each other, as we modify, as we lose to gain and be enriched for a greater tomorrow. Blessings on you. See you next time. Have a good week.